There's been a lot of news breaking out within the Sonic franchise right now, with Sonic Racing Crossworlds selling 1 million units worldwide, to Takashi Iizuka giving out statements that encourage direct player feedback for Crossworlds, Sonic Rumble sneaking in with the release date of November 5th, and Sonic Team starting to be more transparent on what the roadmap is for future Sonic games. These are things I've been thinking about as we approach Sonic's 35th anniversary next year, and this is the time where things are starting to ramp up for the Blue Blur. So in this video, we're going to cover a few recent topics that give us an idea of how serious Sonic Team is becoming and why the future of Sonic is looking really interesting right now. There's a lot to talk about here in this video, so come on Empathetic Gamers, take a seat and let's get started. Let's get into Sonic Racing Crossworlds first, as Sega just announced through Tails channel that the game has sold 1 million units worldwide within its first month of release. It's sitting at number 8 overall within the top 20 best-selling games, number 3 and 4 on PC and Nintendo Switch, and number 8 and 9 on PlayStation and Xbox respectively. Now for context, Sonic Frontiers sold 2.5 million copies in the first month, while Sonic X Shadow Generations hit 1.5 million in the first month, and with an additional 1 million pre-orders before release. Now there was a bit of confusion around those numbers at first for Sonic X Shadow Generations, but Sega counted pre-orders and post-launch sales separately, bringing it to the 2.3 million lifetime sales we see today. So with Crossworlds matching the previous game's first month numbers, despite having a $70 price tag, which is $20 more than Sonic X Shadow Gens, that honestly surprised the hell out of me. Are these massive numbers? Not really, but for Sega and Sonic Team standards, I'd say this is pretty damn good. Not to mention holiday sales and Black Friday are around the corner, so for those who understandably didn't like the steep asking price, they can get in on the action very soon. Those sales can really jump up even more before the end of the year and past Team Sonic Racing. Looking at this tweet from Tails channel, these are the lifetime sales numbers for Frontiers, Superstars, and Team Sonic Racing. Crossroads is already on pace to blow past the bottom two, so this means that Sonic Team is clearly just getting started. And with Sonic Racing Crossroads being out for a month now, there's been enough time for us to get a feel of what we like and don't like about the game. So far for me, I love majority of what this game has to offer. The driving mechanics are great, the tracks are expertly designed, and with the recent festival events that we had with Hatsune Miku, Minecraft, and at the recording of this video, the Joker event is going on right now, with more on the way, it's safe to say that the variety will keep this game very interesting. But there was always something in the back of my mind even before this game released, and it had to do with the post-launch support. Right now for year one, we are loaded with content, especially in these last couple of months of the year with DLC characters. For 2026, there's of course additional characters that will be added like Avatar, TMNT, Mega Man, and Pac-Man. And while that's fantastic, especially Avatar because I'm a die-hard Avatar fan, I was curious on how long do they plan on supporting this game. Fast forward to a recent article with Takashi Iizuka, and I think I got my answer. In a recent article titled Sonic Team Talks the Road Ahead for Sonic Racing by Paolo Kawanishi, he had a sit down with Takashi Iizuka to discuss about the future content of Crossworlds during the Brazil game show. This section of the article states, "We really appreciate all the positive comments we've gotten from fans and reviewers. People really like the game, which gives us the confidence to continue making more content. However, to determine the next steps they are taking, Sonic Team wants to build a strong path based on player feedback. If enough people are coming in and playing it, there's conversation about the game. We have 1 year of DLC. We could do year 2, we can do year 3 of DLC," Iizuka says. Sonic Racing Crossworlds being an online game gives room for the team to expand its content in the future. These are things we can do because it's an online game. We can add new gadgets and we can balance the game differently. Now from this section of the article, I want you to focus on 2 areas. One being building a strong path based on player feedback, and the second being tell us what you want. For Sonic Racing Crossworlds, this is the best path going forward. Hearing them already discussing about year 2 and year 3 content is a bold and exciting conversation, but it's all relying on what the community wants to see. Whether that be balancing suggestions, new gadgets, hell, maybe even an additional multiplayer mode down the line. That'd be pretty cool to see, honestly. But the one thing that everyone is wondering is what characters can we see in the future? Of course, the community already made their suggestions of characters that they wanted in the game. Some pretty obvious like the Sonic IDW characters. Those are pretty good picks that I'd actually want to see. Then you got some pretty wild ass suggestions. Some seem more likely to happen than others, but it's really cool to think about who could be added in the coming future. But overall, this is exactly what Sonic Team should be doing with Sonic Racing Crossworlds, not just through their dedication to post-launch support, but by relying on fan feedback to help shape the game's future. Because once the critics and journalists move on to other games, The people left playing are the Sonic fans, the ones who'll be here long after the headlines fade, and the casual players who check in from time to time. And with holiday sales right around the corner, it's the perfect time to target those players and give them a voice in how Crossworlds evolves heading into year 2 and 3. This game's future is surprisingly looking very bright. I didn't expect much post-launch support after year 1, but if this is how Sonic Team is going to treat the racing genre, then I think we're in good hands for more to come within this franchise. But since we're on the topic of additional content and characters, let's move on to the second topic and talk about extra Sonic character spotlights. The second discussion is in regards to another statement Takashi Iizuka gave during the Brazil game show. Translated by Genki JPN on Twitter, the tweet states, Sonic Team head Takashi Iizuka says he'd like to spotlight other Sonic characters like they did with Shadow. Last year, we promoted the Year of Shadow, influenced by the movie, but I'd like to choose a theme each year and spotlight different characters. I think we can predict which character will appear in the upcoming movie, so I'd like those characters to play an active role. Now, I talked about this topic in my previous video in regards to Shadow, so I won't spend too much time repeating my points here. To sum it all up, each character that is realistically able to be given the spotlight deserves to be in the spotlight. Whether that's with them appearing in more merch, animations, the games, or whatever, this is really good news for the future of this roster. Right now, it's hard to predict or gauge how much thought is going into using more characters, as we're still 2 years away from Sonic Movie 4 and any concrete information for the next mainline Sonic game. But given the 4th movie will have Amy and Metal Sonic, it's safe to say that they'll get a theme and be given more of the spotlight, which is great because I like Amy a lot. And if they give her more importance to the fan base and get the general audience to know her better, then that'd be pretty amazing. Like I said in my previous video, patience is key. And not only that, but hopefully Sonic Team could sort through the fan feedback and keep other characters in mind. I think the biggest thing I'm paying attention to here though is how much influence the movie has over which characters will be featured. Now, you can view this as a good thing or a bad thing. That's totally up to you. But for me, I just find it interesting because this has never happened within the history of this franchise. We're so used to the games being at the forefront and solely relying on their sales and reputation for more character opportunities. But now, with these new high-grossing movies, characters who appear in them will likely get a bigger spotlight within the other sectors of this franchise. In my humble opinion, that's a pretty good thing. Of course, first and foremost, Sonic is a video game franchise, so those games should always be a #1 priority. But this gives more flexibility for Sega to slowly bring Sonic's roster back to how it used to be. A cast of lovable characters who all deserve some level of the spotlight. Sonic has always been a multimedia franchise since the 90s, but this is the first time where the games aren't the only sector pulling in a bulk of the revenue. Sega is evolving a little bit here, and while they still have a long way to go and need to execute, so far, I'm just happy other characters are confirmed to be slowly coming back again. I know how much these characters mean to us. Some of us even see ourselves within these characters. But in this situation, let's just try to give them time and hopefully they can bring back the characters that we love. But now that we addressed that, let's focus on the last topic at hand. Now we're getting to the meat of the video, and this involves the roadmap for the future Sonic games. Within the same Brazil game show, Takashi Iizuka talks about a roadmap that Sonic Team uses to think about which game to release in which year. In this Games Radar article written by Scott McCrae, this section reads, in a talk at the Brazil game show earlier this month, translated by Twitter user Genki JPN, Iizuka explained, first, we create a roadmap of Sonic titles and think about which game to release in which year. We then allocate the development resources needed to develop those titles. While it wasn't specified how far these roadmaps are produced, this is presumably far enough that Sonic Team can best time releases as seen with last year's Sonic X Shadow Generations, which coincided with the release of the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 film shortly after. As for Sonic Racing Crossworlds, Iizuka said, this year we've strengthened the racing genre, and we're currently planning what to do next on the roadmap. This is something I've been hoping Sonic Team would improve on for a long time, and it looks like they finally are. In the past, they rarely communicated directly with fans, and when they did, it often felt like they were talking around the community instead of to it. They were defensive, cautious, and only responded to critics instead of the actual core players who stuck by Sonic through those rough years. And honestly, I don't really fully blame them. Sega as a whole was still operating with a very old school approach to communication. But what we're seeing now is a new Sonic Team, one that's learning to listen, adapt, and actually engage with the community. Remember what I said about Takashi Iizuka saying, tell us what you want? That right there hopefully can lead to the same level of communication when it comes to the mainline games. Of course, they're well ahead in development, and we're expecting either a 2026 release or a 2027 release. But given how responsive Morito Kishimoto was after Sonic Frontiers and how much they tried to improve the base game with Final Horizon, critical feedback from fans is a must for the future of this franchise. A balance between critics, journalists, and fans is important, but the fans are what keep post-launch content and the quality of the next mainline Sonic game in check. This is the perfect time for us to form as much critical feedback as we can, and it's up to Sega and Sonic Team to implement that feedback accordingly. Do I have confidence that they can do that? Yeah, of course. But if I learned anything about being a Sonic fan for this long, is that execution is the final piece to every puzzle. With the acquired budget, new direction, and blueprint from Sonic Frontiers, and trust from a good portion of the fan base, the ball is in Sega's court now. Things are moving very fast in this community, and as the 35th anniversary is nearly approaching, there's no time like the present to prepare for this franchise future. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, this is Breck, and I'll catch you all in the next video. God bless, and take care, empathetic gamers.